Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times, welcome to my channel. This is the first ever video in the series Getting in Shape with Yukitsu, where I'll be playing a lot of semi-serious or semi-competitive games, or even outright competitive games that I absolutely suck at, and try and get better at them. Currently I'm playing League of Legends, I'll also be playing Dota 2 and StarCraft, and possibly other games like maybe Team Fortress 2 or other games that people want me to play or that I feel like I want to play and get better at. But this game is, I'm currently Bronze Division 2, which is pretty bad. It's not the worst of the worst, but it's not very good either. There's 5 divisions of Bronze. Division 5 is the worst, so I'm the second best of the worst, basically. That isn't really great, but it's not terrible either, and I think I can learn a lot more about this game and just get a lot better, but you're going to see a lot of horrible newbie mistakes. What this series is sort of going to be all about is for all you other players out there, because I know there are a lot of you that are not very good at these games, just sort of follow along and try and get better at these games along with me. And it's a good chance for me to analyze my own mistakes, back at my games that I'm playing, and just try and get better at them all in all. Here, I'm just standing around as Syndra. Syndra is one of my favorite mid-champions. I typically play support, but in normals and ranked games where I'm the highest ranked player, I typically like to go somewhere other than support just because I have to rely on myself a little bit more than normal. In this case, I'm just using Syndra because she's a very safe, strong farmer, and she can present a lot of burst damage later on in the game. Just doing a quick leash for Olaf at blue. He didn't start wolves, I'm not really sure why, but that'll basically be okay. I'm laning against Fizz. Fizz is a really strange champion. He's got some good damage over time. He's got an auto attack enhancement that just deals very strong damage over 5 seconds approximately. If he gets off all 5 hits with that, or all 5 seconds of hits with that, you're going to take a lot of damage. But on the other hand, he's also got quite a lot of burst with his ultimate, his troll pole, and with his other ability, his lunge. So all those together mean that he can just do a lot of damage in either a protracted slug out or during a very quick fight. On the other hand, he doesn't have the best damage if he can't get his full combo off on you. So you're going to see why that matters eventually in this video, because he needs to use his troll pole to escape. He can't really use it for damage necessarily. He needs to use his lunge to close in with me, which, you know, that's fine. Here, Master E comes in for a gank, but that's okay. I can flash and escape. And he needs to sort of use his ultimate to sort of slow me down and catch me, which means he can do a lot of damage if he catches me, but otherwise he'll have to use his troll pole either to escape or to get in close to me, or he'll have to use his lunge from very close, and I just won't let him get close enough to get free lunges. Or that's the plan anyway. And Syndra as well is very good against him in that regard, since you can push him off if he does lunge. There he gets a free lunge off, but I'm not as worried yet. At this point I was considering going back. That was why I was pushing the lane so hard. I wanted to go back and get my Amplifying Tome. Basically I'm just trying to farm out mid lane as fast as possible to get a Cage's Lucky Pick and a Philosopher's Stone, and the reason for that is you can farm very safely as Syndra, potentially. I'm not very good necessarily, so I don't actually play it as safely as I should. But when you're doing that, you can get a lot of money over your opponent. When you're bad like I am, or bad like my opponents are, because we're all in the same sort of league, you can get away with just farming a lot of money. You don't need to get kills necessarily, and that's basically what I try to focus on, is try and focus as hard as possible on playing safe, getting a lot of farm, and unfortunately that does mean that I sometimes miss opportunities that I should be doing, and that's a bit of a shame, but here you can see me just sort of putting that into practice, getting a lot of farm. I'm way ahead of Fizz in last hits, so I've got a lot more money than him, and I'll be soon getting a gold per, so I missed that one just because of all the chaos going on in here, and that was a very bad move by me, but you know, he wasn't paying attention to the minion wave, so he took a lot of minion damage as well. But I shouldn't have gotten that close to him. I shouldn't have let him use his gap close on me and then use the troll pole. I should have made him try and troll pole up to me and then use his gap close, because that would have let me deal a lot more damage to him and would have mitigated some of the damage from him. So in this matchup, you can sort of play it safe, or you can play it more sort of trying to harass him away from his minions. I'm trying to sort of harass him away from his money. But you don't really need to worry about it at this level. Since he's not getting last hits, I don't have to worry too much about him getting out of control. The only thing that you have to be careful of is that he will try and gank other lanes. Fizz is a very good assassin roamer. If he goes down, gets a fish on your AD carry because they didn't ward or something down bot, which you can see our bot lane hasn't warded here. And I haven't warded when I probably should have, and you'll see why right now, where he just comes in and kills me. Yeah, you'll see me giving out first blood quite often, actually, which is something I need to work on. But, you know, it's a newer player problem. But anyway, yeah, like, in these situations where we've sort of got no wards, it's fine to just sort of out-farm your opponent, and even with that kill, I still have more money than Fizz. Or probably not, actually, because he did get first blood off that, which the bonus money probably means their team's ahead of me in just that regard. But if I keep farming and keep ahead of Fizz and keep my gold per, I will eventually have more money than him, even if he goes roaming and gets a couple kills. So, just as long as your other lanes are playing relatively safe and can stop him from coming in and murdering them all, then you're probably going to help your team a lot more in the later team fights, just because you'll have more money. Here I call MIA. It's very important at this level, just because, again, Fizz wants to go murder other lanes. That's what he wants. And I want to farm, so I'm probably not going to go help as often as I could otherwise, because basically they're letting me free farm here. Here, bottom lane gets a nice kill. Fizz comes waddling back into lane. And I'm probably going to just sort of, yeah, you can see me playing it relatively safe here. I'm staying pretty far back. He's using his pole, his lunge, and everything to try and get last hits under this tower, but he doesn't get as many as he really should be getting, since he is being forced to last hit under his tower. So I do remember I ended this game with almost twice his minion kills. And it's important, again, like, I see him going down, so I need to start calling MIA. I don't remember if I actually do at this point in time. So that's something I need to consider, is that at this level, they've got a ward, but, you know, it's good to call it out. Yeah, I call it there. And I don't actually think it's that necessary, but our Thresh was hanging around way too long bottom lane. Master Yi's coming down there anyway, so here I find that Thresh was just going to get his blue, so no big deal. Yeah. Here's what I want to be doing. Here he had to use his troll pull to get towards me, and then he had to use his gap closer. So he didn't do anywhere near as much damage as if I was close enough for him to troll pull on top of me, deal that damage, and then lunge into me again, because that would just be a lot more damage. He's not very good. He should be hitting me and sort of sticking on me, just because he deals a lot more damage that way. At this point, if I recall, I wanted to go back and get my Philosopher's Stone, but I needed to sort of push up the lane. I call MIA again, even though he's just walking around the side a little bit. With Olaf here, I'll be able to push out the lane fine. He uses his escape, gets out pretty much scot-free, but it lets me push the lane. And on that, I can go back. And again, like, Fizz, at this point in time, if I recall, had fairly minimal gear. I think he was thinking that he was doing really well just because he wasn't taking really any damage in lane. And that's because I was mostly using my abilities to try and out-farm him. And also, he probably feels really confident because I'm not getting damage items. I was telling Olaf here to be careful because Fizz was hanging around there. Manages to dodge the shark with a flash, which is really great. He could probably have Ragnaroked out of it and gotten away, but in this case it's good that he managed to escape. Otherwise, Fizz and he would have become a lot harder to deal with. Here, big minion wave. I managed to get back in lane after going back without losing much mini minion kills because Fizz is sort of wandering around a little bit. Here he does something a little bit foolish, I think, in that he tries to attack the tower just a little bit. He manages to troll pull away. I could have tried to use my E, but he would have avoided it, and that was also a little bit silly, wasting his flash there. So he's relatively low, and the great thing about Syndra once you've got your ultimate is that you can do really tremendous burst damage if you get a little bit of harass in on them. So here he comes back, he's close by, I just throw out my E because I want to deal a little bit of damage to him. Here I land a hit, and I wasn't sure that I was going to there, but I flash in and ignite him with my ult, and that'll get a kill. Now, considering that I've got 2 gold per, that was pretty good. I probably could have done it without the flash, but I had thought that he would have dodged my Q. So if he had dodged my Q, I couldn't have pulled that off, obviously. So that's why I was sort of backing off. I was worried that he was going to counter with a shark and then kill me, although, come to think of it, his shark should have been on cooldown, so probably shouldn't have been worried about it. But that's okay. At this point, I've been free farming the lane a lot. A lot of his minions have been killed by the tower, so I'm way ahead in minion kills, and I've got 2 gold per, so I'm getting a lot of money just fairly passively. And in these sort of beginner early games, it doesn't really matter how well you're playing or how poorly you're playing compared to how much money you're getting. If you can manage to get a lot of money, you can be excused for a lot of other problems that you might have. At this point, I'm working on I get my Sorcerer's Boots, and I'm considering what mana item I want to get. I end up getting a Chalice in this particular game. A lot of other games I'll get the Tears of the Goddess, and the Tears of the Goddess is really nice on Syndra since she just got such a low cooldown Q, but both of them are very good items I find on her depending on what you want to do. I like the cooldown on the Athene's Unholy Grail, which is nice, and the Tears of the Goddess I like for turning it into the Mirror Mana, just because her ult is kind of funny when you use the Mirror Mana with it. I think I'm just going to push up this lane just a little bit. Hopefully he's going to lose a little bit more minion kills to that tower. He runs at me with a shark, and here's what you can do when you're Syndra. Yeah, just flick him away. He doesn't deal much damage with just the shark alone. What's great about the shark is it lets him easily get on top of you and deal good damage over time. Instead, he ends up letting me get a full combo off on him at point blank range. Even though I don't have much damage at this point in time, I still managed to burst him down from pretty much full to 0 just because Syndra's burst damage on a single target when she's got her ult is just really, really high. And at this point as well, my Q is maxed. That means when I hit him, it's dealing a lot more damage than it did before. Her Q scales a bit strangely. It's even, and then its final level it gets a huge boost. So that's why I could deal that much damage to him in that trade-off. Olaf was coming in for the gank, but in that case it wasn't necessary, which is kind of unfortunate. It would have been nice if I let him get a hit in and get that assist, since it's extra gold for the team. Here I get the Chalice, and I think I'm considering, yeah, I'm starting to work on I'm thinking of working on the Morellonomicon, actually. That's a little bit odd for me. I don't think I actually ever finish it in this game and change my mind and work towards a death cap. This game's relatively short, so those don't really come into play. So this is pretty much what my build is, if I recall. Olaf giving me my first blue of the game, which is pretty good. It's the 3rd blue. You should never expect your junglers to just give you every blue. Sometimes they need it. Olaf is one of those champions that can do a lot of good with it, so it's not necessary for you to take every single one. Here I'd pull the blue over and kill it just in case Olaf accidentally kills it with something, or if its damage ticks over because of masteries. That's happened to me before, where I'm like standing there waiting for the guy to finish killing it, and then suddenly my 2 damage from my armor masteries kills it. I forgot to call it an MIA, and this is the result of it. They don't have really great ward coverage down there. They got a ward Sword Near Dragon, but Fizz still manages to get in there. And that's exactly what he wants to do, is get that shark off, and that's a guaranteed kill in that lane. Too much burst and too much follow-up crowd control from Nami, so there's absolutely really nothing they could have done there. They managed to make it out with 1 alive, so that's fine. Here I see Master Yi coming towards me. I just sort of back around the other way. I don't want to face check that bush with Yi around, even though I can tell he alpha striked up there. And here I just try and keep him in control in lane, just completely with my stun. But here, again, Fizz, he pokes me, but he has to back off because I'm under a tower. So if I was not moving backwards like that and just let him actually hit me with his full combination, he would have dealt more damage than I would have just dealt with him there. So it's always important against sort of a Fizz to keep track of what you're doing, and this is why Fizz is annoying. He just dodges out of my ult, and I just throw an E out for frustration's sake. Yeah, nothing's worse than using your ult as Syndra and just having them dodge the entire thing just because they've got whatever troll pull, and it's not really that much fun when he does something like that. Here he's just kind of derping around. I use my E again to throw him off me, and he has to disengage. He uses his flash for some reason, then jumps out. I'm not really sure what that was. But, you know, he's skirmishing me down to low health. He uses summoners. I'm just going to go back. I've got quite a bit of money. I can use it at this point. I recall that he's quite far behind at this point, even though I wasn't checking his gear really, just because his damage values were so low. He's not been farming very effectively, and that means that I'm starting to pull way ahead of him at this point. If I recall in this game, he ended up rushing a Lichbane, which is not a great build choice on Fizz. He doesn't get it quite yet, but he'll have it by the end of the game. Here he's just trying to cause a little bit of damage to the turret before he has to back off. He'll do that, but now that I'm here I can push the lane again. I can just keep going straight over to his turret, and I can actually take it out since he doesn't have enough health to stop me. If I decide to sort of dive in on him. The thing is, it's not necessarily safe to do that when he's still got his shark up. Olaf dies up top against Yi before I really can even get there, so I thought that was just a little bit strange, but you know, it's one of those things that happens. Here he makes sure to get one of his auto attacks off against me. And now he's looking really, really gankable, or just diveable. So I'm hoping he comes out so I can just walk up to him and use my ult. That's what I'm hoping for, but he's a little bit too smart for that. He's learned his lesson about how much that ult can hurt. And as well, I can't use it right now because he'll just troll pull. So he's used his shark, now I can really dive him. And now he's used his troll pull to do that, so I can just blink in and kill him. So always save your troll pull for when you're fighting someone with high burst potential for when they try and use your burst combo. You can't use it for damage. So that's one of his big downfalls in this lane. There I kind of whiffed my farming combo, which is kind of hilarious because it's just a farming combo. Usually I like to throw the minion into the back group, then I like to use the ball, and that follow-up usually kills whatever minion plus everything else. I got to look down at the bottom just in time for this Nami to derp right into that mall. Right into that wall. Yep. It's probably the smartest play I'd seen all game. No. This is where things get a little bit messy and a little bit odd. We've got Master Yi teleporting in. I don't think he knew that we were coming in, so he just runs away using Highlander. Then runs back in for some godforsaken reason. No one knows why, really. Olaf starts working on him. I'm going to get an assist by just poking him. Yeah, I kind of wanted that kill, but Olaf kind of needs him too. And it's a good thing I was around as well, because now Fizz just jumps in on him and starts doing work. So with the two of us together, we can easily clean him up. So that's a double kill for Olaf. Very good for us, and that's pretty much going to be their demoralizing defeat. Top lane is still sort of pushing. I'm still sort of pushing because we're not sure if the enemy's going to make any rally attempt, and we want to get our lanes pushed as hard as possible. I should have gone bottom after that kill since like Graves is threatening Tarek, but he is safe under his tower, so it's okay. Here I was kind of derping. I was just like going by reflex. Normally I just go up there and take the wraiths, leave, but looks like Olaf cleared that out when I wasn't paying attention. Just killed all but one to try and deny it to the enemy. So I let it chase me around a little bit and then just don't kill it in the end. I'm just going to push the tower a little bit more. I think that we have complete dominance and they're sort of afraid of us. I've got my ults, so I'm not too worried about Fizz here. Just going to shove him off because he was getting a little bit of damage off on me. And at this point in time, I'm considering going back to buy, but I end up seeing, if I recall, Singed come down to help me after I get this blue. So I'm going to go solo blue because I'm high enough level that that's pretty easy. And despite that, you're going to see some hilarious failure trying to take this blue. Here it resets. Here it resets again. And I think that was it. Yeah, that was the last reset. So not a great way for me to be trying to kill blue. Not really sure what was going on there, because usually that doesn't go quite that awful for me, but sometimes things like that happen. Here I'm considering teleporting back, but someone's pinged Fizz, so they want to go for it. So I'm just going to run into the lane, and it's a good thing we do too, because he's pushing the tower. I managed to get him with a Q. Singed misses his glue, but is just going full running mode. I'm just going to smack the minions around a little bit so that they're cleared, so our tower takes less damage. Fizz gets the fish off, but gets grabbed, so he troll pulls off, gets glued, and I get to ult him. So, easy kill. Easy kill. That was mostly thanks to Singed, and I was considering letting him get it, but I wasn't actually sure how much longer he had in his ult, and you can see it run out there. So he's not been doing particularly great this game in terms of his money, so he doesn't do much damage. So I was a little bit worried that him running past him with gas wouldn't result in a kill. And that there's the end of the game. So it was a good game, and thanks to all my opponents.